was a horrifying tale of suspicion, vengeance, and damnation that unfolded in the heart of the Darkabad desert, near a mysterious well called the Judge's Well. The desert wind howled through the dry reeds and beat against the mud walls of the old home. Miri, a man whose coarse, rough fingers resembled the dry roots of barren trees, hadn't been to his field for days because his wife, Golnar, had gone to a neighboring village to help care for her sick sister. On the evening of the third day, Miri was sitting quietly in the coffee house when Yagab, a skinny man, started mocking him. After a brief scuffle, Yagab shouted a wicked rumor. "News of your wife's promiscuity is spreading in the next village." Silence froze the coffee house. Miri, hands trembling from either rage or suspicion, returned home, his mind racing. He remembered that Golnar had dressed up more than usual before she left. When Golnar returned at sunset, her face was tired, but her eyes seemed determined. Miri observed her strangely, then ordered her to pack her belongings. Disturbed, he told her, "My heart is not clean with you." He decided the only way to settle his doubt was to go to the Judge's Well, Chah Ghazi, in the Darkabad desert, a place where people said the tongue cannot speak a lie. Before sunrise, the two shadows, the man consumed by suspicion and the woman carrying a silent secret, set off into the desert. Miri recalled beautiful memories of their past, but now suspicion had become his only pillar. They finally reached the well, a dark circle that looked like an old wound in the earth. Miri told Golnar he didn't want to be the judge. He just wanted the filth that has entered my body to be rooted out. Golnar tried to speak, but her throat was dry, and fear rendered her speechless. Miri took her silence as a sign of guilt and screamed, "Now that it is time to speak, you are mute." Miri lost control. He took the old, rotten rope hanging from a branch of rope. A rope that was still trustworthy for death. With a fiery heart and a smoky gaze, he placed the rope around her neck. When Golnar's feet left the ground, time stopped. She hung there, neither guilty nor innocent, only a victim of silence. Shaken and remorseful moments later, Miri pulled her down, slapped her face, and then threw her lifeless body. Miri returned to the village and pretended Golnar had never come back. But sleep evaded him. He was tormented by nightmares. Golnar, in a blood-stained white dress, the well opening its mouth and swallowing her whole. To normalize Golnar's absence, Miri visited her sisters. Zainat, shocked, recounted a chilling detail. Golnar, upon returning from the mill, was dusty and injured and whispered, "If I tell you what happened, he will kill me." Zainat also mentioned a strange young man named Jalal had been seen in the village and then vanished. Miri trembled, realizing his fatal mistake. Golnar was not mute. She was terrified because of the sin she had not committed. The sin of another scoundrel. A fever of vengeance seized him. He tracked Jalal down in the semi-abandoned village of Gratskishan and repeatedly plunged his rusty hunting knife at Jalal's side. Vengeance brought no peace. The horror intensified. Doors would slam open, and a cold wind would sweep through the house. One night, Golnar appeared in the doorway. Her face was dusty. Slime was dripping from the corner of her lips, and her eyes had a horrifying white veil. She spoke in a strange voice. "I am not guilty." In another nightmare, Miri stood by the well, which was breathing. A corpse-like woman. Terrible shadow of Golnar climbed out. Her empty eye sockets were full of beetles. She smiled hideously and declared, "You killed me, but now you must die every night." Miri woke up smelling soil and blood. Driven by desperation, Miri rushed back to the well before dawn. He peered in, and was astonished to see that the bottom was empty. There was no body, no blood, only a long strand of hair that the wind carried away. Suddenly, a chain-like sound rose from the depths. Golnar emerged from the darkness. Her clothes were torn, and her skin was gray. Behind her, horrifying shadows poured out of the well. They were neither human nor animal. They had no faces, but their faces were covered in eyes, with claws longer than a man's height and hooves 4 feet. Miri stumbled back, but a strange gravity pulled him toward the gaping mouth of the well. Golnar stretched out her hand, black smoke issuing from her fingertips, and the earth opened. Miri fell into the darkness as the jinn grabbed his limbs and began to chain him. Miri cried out from the well, "Golnar, forgive me." Golnar watched him from above, wearing a smile of satisfaction. She was now part of that demonic legion. Fate had taken its true revenge, and Miri was trapped in the soil in that forgotten spot. This story is like a simple gardener who, upon hearing rumors from strangers, cuts down the beloved tree he planted instead of protecting it from pests. But when he tries to make amends, he finds the severed roots have not died, but are intertwined with rage and madness, dragging him down into the depths of darkness.